love, presence, and the morning of the soul. When the morning breaks, before the noise of the world rushes in, before the phone lights up with messages and deadlines, there is a sacred moment, a breath of stillness between night and day. That moment carries a quiet power. It's a reminder that love is not only felt, it's expressed. And how we start our morning can echo through the entire day of someone we care about. Cornel West once said, "Justice is what love looks like in public." But what is love in private? What is love in the soft language between two hearts before the day even begins? Love in private is presence. It's the decision to send a thought, a word, a message that says, "I see you. I remember you. You matter." Too many people wake up and scroll through emptiness. They see images, not meaning. Notifications, not connection. But you, my friend, you can be the difference. Because one sincere good morning message can transform an ordinary moment into a sacred exchange. A message, when spoken from the depth of truth, becomes more than a text. It becomes a whisper of care. It tells her, "I'm not just thinking of you, I'm thinking with you." And that's the language Cornel West teaches us, not to possess someone, but to accompany them in spirit. So today, we're diving deep into 7 powerful good morning messages, not the ones you copy and paste from the internet, but the ones that carry soul, sincerity, and substance, each one rooted in the wisdom of compassion, courage, and presence. Let's begin. Good morning, my peace in the chaos. The first message is not about charm. It's about calm. When the world moves fast and everything seems to pull her attention in different directions, your words can become her still point. Say to her, "Good morning, my peace in the chaos. I hope today brings you clarity and calm, and that you remember how strong your spirit truly is. Simple but powerful." Why? Because in a world obsessed with excitement, Cornel West reminds us to center love in gentleness. He says love is a steadfast commitment to the well-being of another. That means your message isn't about how much she thinks of you, and it's about helping her remember her own worth. This message does not demand. It grounds. It does not flatter. It centers. When you speak to her peace, you speak to her essence. And that, my brother, is what women remember. The feeling of being seen, not just admired. Every morning is a small resurrection, a chance to rise again from the exhaustion of yesterday. When she reads your words that recognize her stillness, she associates you with peace, not pressure. That's the difference between attachment and affection. Cornel West teaches us that love without depth is just sentimentality, and sentimentality fades like perfume. But love with reflection, love with wisdom, that becomes fragrance on the soul. When she receives that kind of message, she won't just smile. She'll breathe differently. She'll feel understood, because love in its truest form is not loud. It's deliberate. And your words can be that gentle nudge that reminds her that life is more than the noise around her, that there is still tenderness and calm waiting at the start of her day. So, remember, your good morning is not a greeting. It's a gift of serenity. Good morning, my reminder of purpose. Music softens into a reflective tone. The second message is about purpose, because real attraction isn't only built on beauty or charm. It's built on shared meaning. Say to her, "Good morning, my reminder of purpose. Every time I think of you, I'm reminded that life is richer when we live with intention." Cornel West often speaks of spiritual awakening through moral clarity. He reminds us that the deepest relationships are those that call us to our higher selves. When you send this message, you're not just making her day brighter, you're making her soul alert. There's something magnetic about a man who sees beyond the surface. When you connect affection with purpose, your words begin to carry weight. You're no longer just the man who sends a message. You become the man whose words inspire. She begins to feel your message not only in her heart but in her thoughts. She begins to associate your energy with growth, with becoming, with the quiet fire that fuels her to be better. This is what Cornel West means when he says love is not merely a feeling, but a form of service, to remind each other of what truly matters. In a time when most conversations are shallow, your morning message can be a sanctuary. It can be a reminder that love isn't about escaping the world. It's about entering it more fully, with courage and compassion. When she reads those words, she'll think of you not as someone who distracts her, but as someone who centers her. And that, my friend, is far more powerful. You're not competing with noise. You're creating meaning. The morning, then, is not just another routine. It's an opportunity, a sacred moment to weave love with philosophy, to blend thought with tenderness. These messages are not strategies to win someone's heart. They are expressions of integrity, rooted in Cornel West's vision, that love is a moral choice, an act of will, a discipline of care. So as we continue to part 3 and beyond, remember, each word you send is an echo of who you are becoming. Speak not to impress, but to elevate. Good morning, my reflection of strength. There are mornings when strength feels distant, when she wakes up with weight on her shoulders, unsure if she can carry it all again. That's when your message becomes more than kindness, and it becomes encouragement born of empathy. Say to her, "Good morning, my reflection of strength." You might not feel it right now, but every challenge you face is proof of how deeply you endure. Cornel West reminds us that love must have courage, or it becomes sentimental. Courage means standing with someone, even when their spirit trembles. It's easy to celebrate beauty and laughter, but it takes soul to recognize resilience, to look at someone's scars and call them sacred. Your words, when grounded in truth, don't just compliment her, they validate her humanity. They say, "I see the storms you've survived. I see the grace you wear while healing." This is not about flattery. It's about fellowship in spirit. When she reads your message, she doesn't see a man seeking her attention. She sees a man who respects her struggle, a man who understands that beauty is not in perfection, but in perseverance. Cornel West says, "To love is to fight, to be faithful, to have hope, even in the face of despair." When you send that message, you embody that faithfulness. You become a reminder that real love doesn't run from difficulty. It honors it. Your morning words are not a rescue. They are a recognition. You're telling her that strength is not about never breaking. It's about breaking and rebuilding with grace. That's the kind of love that makes her think of you all day. Not because of your charm, but because of your character. Good morning, my gentle fire. The fourth message speaks of balance, the dance between softness and passion. Too often, people mistake gentleness for weakness, but Cornel West reminds us that gentleness is not the absence of strength. It is strength refined by wisdom. Say to her, "Good morning, my gentle fire." You carry a warmth that doesn't burn. It heals. Those words speak directly to her duality, her ability to nurture and challenge, to love and to lead, to smile while facing storms. Every woman carries within her both tenderness and power, and when you acknowledge that, you awaken her sense of divine balance. Cornel West often speaks of the prophetic fire, that righteous energy that burns not to destroy, but to illuminate truth. In love, that same fire exists, not to consume, but to connect. Your message tells her, "I don't just see your beauty, I feel your light." It tells her that her warmth inspires, not just attracts. And when your message reaches her heart that way, she'll think of you not as another admirer, but as a mirror of her higher self. Love, as West teaches, is a radical act of tenderness in a callous world. Your words can be that act, the spark that reminds her that softness and strength are not opposites, but allies. In a world where people rush to impress, your message chooses to express. In a time where people chase attention, your message offers appreciation. That's what makes her think of you when she least expects it. Not the words themselves, but the energy behind them. Because what stays with the heart is never the text, it's the truth. Good morning, my thought between moments. There's something sacred about being remembered in silence, not in the noise of conversation, but in the quiet space between her thoughts. That's where love lingers. This fifth message captures that invisible presence. Say to her, "Good morning, my thought between moments." Even in your busy day, I hope there's a second that reminds you, you're cherished without reason. Cornel West reminds us that love is not possession. It's permission, the freedom to grow, to move, to breathe. To love someone deeply means to trust their space, to honor their individuality while still standing close in spirit. This message does not seek attention. It offers reflection. It says, "I know life pulls you in many directions, but even when you're away, my respect for you remains." That kind of emotional maturity is rare. It's what separates a man who texts out of habit from a man who communicates with intention. When she reads that line, it's not the words that echo, it's the feeling of peace that comes with them. She feels seen without being captured, valued without being claimed. Cornel West speaks often about love as integrity, that the truest love is one that never manipulates, never demands, never tries to own another soul. Your words must reflect that moral depth. They must whisper, not shout. Remind, not request. To be someone's thought between moments is to live not in their schedule, but in their spirit. And that's where real connection is built. Not through constant contact, but through consistent care. When she feels that from you, she doesn't think of you out of obligation. She thinks of you out of admiration. Because you represent something calm in a restless world, something thoughtful in a culture of haste. Your message becomes a moment of stillness, and then she'll return to that stillness, again and again. As we move toward the final chapters, Part 6 and Part 7, remember, these good morning messages are not mere words. They are windows into your spirit, reflections of your depth, your awareness, your love rooted in purpose. Cornel West teaches us that the most revolutionary act in a loveless world is to care with discipline, to love not for what you gain, but for what you give. And when a woman feels that, and when she senses your words are guided by soul, not strategy, she will not only think about you all day long, she will begin to see you as part of her peace. Good morning, my anchor in the infinite. The sixth message is for those moments when life feels like an ocean, wide, uncertain, constantly shifting. When the waves of worry rise, it's easy to lose the sense of ground beneath our feet. But one message, spoken from sincerity, can remind her that she still has anchors, not in the world, but within her soul. Say to her, "Good morning, my anchor in the infinite. In a world that keeps spinning, you remind me what stillness feels like." Cornel West often says, to be human is to be spiritual, to be soulful, to wrestle with despair and still choose hope. When you send that message, you become part of that choice. You become the quiet assurance that even when life feels uncertain, there is steadiness in connection, strength in compassion. This message speaks to the depth of emotional trust, not control, not desire, but respect. You tell her, "You are not my possession. You are my peace." That is what separates true affection from empty attraction. Your words become the reminder that love doesn't have to shout to be heard. It just has to stay. When she reads that message, she'll feel the calm that comes from being known beyond surface level. She'll sense that your presence is not about the moment, but about meaning, not about filling silence, but honoring it. Cornel West reminds us that to love deeply is to stand firm in the face of chaos. That's what this message does. It invites her to feel safe in a world that often forgets tenderness. And perhaps, for a brief second, she'll pause before her day begins and breathe. Because your message won't just make her think of you, it will make her feel at home within herself. Good morning, my light that teaches me. The final message is the most powerful one, because it carries gratitude. Gratitude is the heartbeat of Cornel West's philosophy. He reminds us that love without gratitude becomes entitlement. Love with gratitude becomes grace. Say to her, "Good morning, my light that teaches me. Every time I think of you, I'm reminded that love is not about taking, it's about becoming." Those words do not flatter. They reverence. You're not praising her to gain favor. You're acknowledging that her presence has shaped you. This message tells her, "You have taught me how to feel deeper, think clearer, and live truer." That's not manipulation, and that's maturity. In Cornel West's language, it's the recognition that love is educational. It makes the heart wiser, not weaker. Real love doesn't just comfort us, it confronts us. It challenges us to evolve, to unlearn pride, to learn patience, to remember that connection is a sacred responsibility. When you send that message, you tell her, "You are not just someone I admire. You are someone who awakens my conscience." That's the kind of message that doesn't fade. It stays in her thoughts long after the words are read. Because deep down, every soul wants to be not just loved, but understood, and to be the reason someone chooses to grow. Cornel West says, "To love is to learn how to die to one's narrow self so that one might live more abundantly." In that spirit, your final message becomes a reflection of that abundance, the kind of love that seeks not ownership but openness, not perfection but partnership in becoming. The Morning of the Soul 7 messages. 7 moments. Each one more than just words. Each one a reflection of who you are becoming. You see, Cornel West doesn't teach us how to win hearts. He teaches us how to earn souls, through courage, compassion, and moral beauty. He reminds us that the truest measure of a man is not in how loudly he speaks, but in how gently he cares. These 7 good morning messages are not strategies. They are philosophies of presence. They are ways of saying, I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to walk beside you. They say, I don't need you to think of me all day. I just hope my words make your day worth thinking about. Because when you send messages rooted in peace, purpose, strength, gentleness, and gratitude, you're not just making her think of you. You're making her feel safe in her own skin. And that is far greater than attraction. That is transformation. Cornel West calls this the love supreme, a form of love that heals the spirit and restores dignity to the soul. It's the love that refuses to be shallow, the love that remembers that every human being is sacred, and that our words can either wound or awaken. So as the sun rises, let your words rise with integrity. Let your good morning be a reflection of your goodness. Let your care be quiet but constant, because in the end, it's not the message that makes her think of you all day long. It's the meaning behind it. It's the stillness you bring, the peace you offer, the truth you stand for. That's what Cornel West would call the courage to love. And that, my friend, is the kind of love the world and Shivar will never forget.